This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Happy to be joined now by Joe Clancy from thisishorseracing.com. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Seth. How are you?
Very good. Haven't talked to you since Saratoga, but I said at the top of the show up here, we're all familiar with the publication you and Sean put out, the Saratoga Special, a nice newspaper that's put out each and every day, and folks can also read it online. But you have wrapped up, obviously, publication of that, now concentrating on the website. Fill us in a little bit about what's been going on since Saratoga ended.
Yeah, we always leave there and people say, "What, are you taking a month off?" And, that'd be great. But no, we're back at it. We're working on the website. We also edit Mid-Atlantic Thoroughbred Magazine, which is a monthly, so a little bit of a deadline pressure, not quite Saratoga deadline pressure, but it's there. And then put some finishing touches on the Thoroughbred Racing calendar, which goes to the printer here in about a week as well. So
oh, very good.
Plenty to do.
And the calendar is a really great product. My sister buys me one for Christmas every year, and I have it hanging up in my kitchen. So
I love it.
I'm a regular customer, and I certainly advise people to check out the calendar when that comes out. And again, this is horseracing.com, the website. I'm sure there'll be plenty of coverage of Far Hills this weekend, and that's what we wanted to talk to you about. A really nice day of steeplechase racing down there. Just for folks who haven't been there, my Sunday morning partner, Steve Bick, he's headed down this weekend. I told him a couple of days ago I was envious. I'd love to get down. These steeplechase meets, they look like the media coverage of them. It's so much fun, and people are just having a great time, tailgating and whatnot. Give us a little of for people who've never been there before.
No, it's a lot like a college football tailgate atmosphere, only it's the racing that brings everybody out instead of the game. It's a great day. I mean, Far Hills especially is our biggest race meet of the year in terms of purse money and prestige, and they have one of the biggest crowds. They usually get between 30 and 40,000 people there. It's a real natural type of setting, so most of the people are up on a big hillside at individual tailgating spaces with their cars, or you're in the infield. The races happen every 35 minutes or so, and it's a great day out. Weather cooperating, it's a great day out. It can be a bit of a survival test in the extreme conditions, but otherwise, it's a fantastic day of racing. And if you can get there, it's worth the trip for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to go sometime. All right, let's shift our attention and talk a little bit about the highlight of the afternoon coming up on Saturday. $250,000 on the line, the Grand National Grade 1 event, 2 5/8 miles. Nice field in here. My man Jonathan Shepard has some runners. And Joe, while we talk, I'm going to pull up the September 18th Lonesome Glory, a Grade 1 event for the jumpers down at Belmont Park last month. We're going to watch the number 3 Demonstrative win. Number 2 Parker's Project will run second in here. Spy in the Sky, the number 5 horse, will run third. And a couple of those, Parker's Project and Demonstrative, are running on Saturday. And Joe, I have to believe Demonstrative at this point kind of is the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, as far as an Eclipse Award with the Turf Riders and that Grade 1 Lonesome Glory. If he has another Grade 1, I think he would kind of have a stranglehold on the Eclipse. But give us some thoughts about that in general, the Eclipse and where Demonstrative sits, but also your thoughts on the race on Saturday.
Yeah, he's certainly in the driver's seat based on the two. He's won 2 Grade 1s, and he just got beat a nose in another. So if he'd have won the other one, he'd certainly have a grip on it. A third would wrap it up, I would think. The only, to me, threat would be Divine Fortune, who needs to come back to his spring form. If he could win the Grand National, he'd certainly be in with a chance. Or somebody who wins the Grand National and then comes back and wins the Colonial Cup in November. They're our last 2 major stops for horses. But Demonstrative has really just come back to form, which is neat to see. He lost his way. They had to do a wind surgery on him. He kind of lost 5 or 6 races, and more importantly, did not run to his ability. And then after the wind surgery, it kind of took him a race or two to kind of get back to that. And now he's back to where he was a year and a half, 2 years ago, and looks like sort of the class of the division. The only caveat, and I'm sure Richard Valentine, his trainer, is sweating, is the soft turf. He has not done his best work in soft ground, nor at Far Hills. And Far Hills routinely comes up soft just based on when it happens in the calendar. So I'm sure Richard is doing a little bit of stall walking at the farm down in Virginia right now, but we'll see. I think if it dries out here the next 2 days, it should be pretty fair.
And we just watched the stretch run of the Lonesome Glory, and there was a faller there. Well, the faller was Divine Fortune. Nagel was on board. Well, Divine Fortune and Nagel are back, so they came out of that fine. And Divine Fortune was the winner of this race last year. Now, the last couple of races, that spill at Belmont, and then left the course up at Saratoga. But before that, going back to May of this year, was a winner of the Grade 1 Iroquois. What are your thoughts on Divine Fortune, my man Jonathan Shepard training?
It's just trying to dial it back to that form, and yeah, his best form, if he can find it again, certainly puts him there. I mean, he kind of came into the Grand National last year with a lot of skeptics. He didn't run that well at Belmont in the race before it last year, and then just dominated the Grand National. So, coming off a fall, to me, it's another question. But if anybody can get him ready, Jonathan Shepard can. I'm actually on my way to go see him go out for a little gallop, a little exercise here this morning on the farm. So we'll know a lot more in about a half hour. But he's a class horse. I think he as he's gotten older, he's adapted to these longer distance races of the Iroquois, which is 3 miles, the Grand National, which is 2 5/8, where he gets up front, gets his confidence up, gets the jumping down, and he's very tough to catch. And it's just he just sets a nice tempo for him, which puts pressure on other horses. It might look a little fast, but it's probably perfect for him, and it puts pressure on other horses. And if he can run back to the race he ran in the race last year or in the Iroquois in the spring, he's very tough. He and Demonstrative, to me, are the class of the division over the last 2-3 years for sure.
I'll throw in another and get your thoughts on another Jonathan Shepard runner, Parker's Project, who came back and, as we saw in that video just a minute ago, ran second behind Demonstrative. That was the first start off a very long layoff, May of 2012 to September 2014. Again, it's Jonathan Shepard. I think this horse maybe will benefit from that first start back off the long layoff.
Yeah, that was a huge effort.
Yeah.
Surprised a lot of people. And again, you can't toss out any of Shepard's horses, I don't think, because he's just done it over and over again. I think that horse should run better, but then there's the other theory is, off such a layoff and he ran so well, he might regress a little bit. The horse I like to maybe bring it up to is Dr. Skip from the barn of Eddie Graham. So if you're paying attention, Eddie Graham won the Arlington Million with Hardest Horse.
Oh, yeah.
And he is 8 for 11, I think, on the year. He's having quite a year. So Dr. Skip ran in the secondary race the same day as the Lonesome Glory, off a layoff, ran very well, was third, and they're taking a little bit of a shot jumping up a condition. But he got Patty Young, who's the champion jockey, and I think that's a horse who could, if there was real betting, he'd be a decent price and be some value against a couple of favorites.
And whatever happened to that? I mean, a couple of years ago, weren't they considering having some betting on this day of races?
Yeah, and it unraveled a little bit because of the trying to sort out who's in charge, basically. New Jersey Racing Commission obviously oversees thoroughbred parimutuel wagering in New Jersey, and so it got a little gray as far as who's doing what, where National Steeplechase coordinates the licensing and everything like that for the races. Anytime you have parimutuel wagering in a state, then there's more, hoops to jump through, I guess. And they still kick it around like they might do it. There's a race meet in Virginia next week that does have parimutuel wagering and sort of involves both the National Steeplechase Association and the Virginia Racing Commission to make it happen. And they're trying to be the model to see if they can do that at more steeplechase meets. So it'd be fun if they could do it. They'd have to then sort of find a simulcast partner or a hub to get it out. But it would be a fun thing to do, and I think it'd be good for the game, and you would not lose that sort of tailgating flavor. You would just be adding a little bit of wagering to it. And if you've ever been to Far Hills or just use your imagination a little bit, there's plenty of money changing hands at Far Hills. It's just not parimutuel.
Yeah, I was going to add that in. I was going to say, from everything I understand, the hat is passed around, and everybody has a little rooting interest, a little monetary rooting interest in the races.
There are varying levels. In some, it's as simple as a hat and pull out a number. In others, there's guys who, one year a guy actually had a computer and was doing parimutuel odds. It was crazy, but you can find them. They're out there, so that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
And, hopefully nobody from the New Jersey State Police is listening.
Well, it's all for fun. It's all for fun. And you say you're going to go see the Shepard horses at the farm. You headed to Ashwell?
Yeah, headed out to the farm there. I live in Fair Hill, which is about 25 minutes or so out to Jonathan's farm, and they're all sort of going. All those Far Hills runners are going for a little bit of a hack. So his assistant, Kerry Bryant, said, come on out and take a look at them. So we'll see how they are.
And I'm sure there'll be a follow-up on thisishorseracing.com.
Yeah, should be something up tonight. So if not, first thing in the morning, as a little bit of follow-up to how the horses are doing.
Excellent. And if you see my man Jim Bergen out there, the Ashwell manager, he said he's from my home burg, Amsterdam, right up here. I knew him in the high school days. So if you see Jim Bergen, tell him I said hello.
I will let him know. I'm sure I'll see him.
All right. And Joe, we appreciate the visit this morning, the little preview of Far Hills. It's going to be a great day of racing. I mean, it's drivable distance for people who are up here. It's a lot of fun. As I say, I got to be on TV, but certainly envious of folks who are going to be able to make it out there. Grand National setting things up with potentially some eclipse implications. And Joe, again, appreciate the visit, and we'll tell people again to stop by thisishorseracing.com for previews and follow-ups.